Let me give you the interconnections. Because EDSA cannot pay for services, replacement, maintenance, and capital investments, we have to go to finance for them to pay for that. But the guy has a menu on his table. He has to pay for health, agriculture, other priorities. So which comes first, the hospital or your power system? Fortunately, President, as the Minister of Energy, has been able to say, look, if you don't have enough electricity, those systems don't work. So I, as President, I authorize. The money was released, King Tom is going. The money has been released for Blackwell Road, inshallah. We'll push that as well so that instead of April, I'm looking now at June because the funds came late. The transfer of the funds took time. So which means in Freetown, by June, July, we add 25 megawatts of our own generation. Yeah, we add another 15 megawatts from Makut. They've already built their plant. I'm going to visit them possibly next week. An additional 15 megawatts. So that's 40 megawatts guaranteed for Freetown within the next 6 to 7 months. Now, going on to December or first quarter 2026, we add 30 megawatts from Newton. Vice President did the groundbreaking in November. And then by December, or again Q1, we add another 40 megawatts from Kamakuye. In short, in summary, in Freetown, we plan to triple the supply in Freetown by Q1 next year.
So does that mean come towards November or towards the year 2026, we'll be free from all these challenges?
Let me put it this way, not free from all,
or minimized?
Minimized, but we will triple the supply. That's a major milestone here. We break the back and most of it will be cheaper solar power, probably at 9 cents, 10 cents, yeah? Compared to buying at 21 cents. You see where I'm headed? So those are the short-term plans fixed, part of my job, and every month, Deputy Minister Wan Taylor, Deputy Minister Nuni, myself, and senior colleagues, we go to visit all these projects to make sure execution is taking place, and we will be on schedule. I say this for a good reason, for the public to understand. When you have blackouts and so on, don't panic too much, because what we must avoid is what happened over the last 2 decades. There's a blackout, people panic for political reasons, you look for emergency power. And then we get stuck on it for 20 years. We are very focused on this transition, and you will know since 2023, we introduced that vocabulary of energy transition, meaning transitioning from emergency to stable, reliable, affordable power, part of which we own, transitioning to more renewables, and as I told you now, by Q1, we would have added almost 80 to 95 megawatts of clean energy to the system. I'm not even talking about the longer term projects yet, Bumbuna, Dodo, an additional 65 megawatts for Kolleh, clean solar power. The team is coming to do those assessments soon from the partner. 80 megawatts, Infinity Power, on the banks of the Bumbuna. Another group looking at upgrading the dam. By the time we add those, you will see why I say to you, 300 to 500 megawatts added to this system in the next 5 years. That's the trajectory we want to be
So
on.
the only way people get convinced with all these promises and explanations.
These are not promises, these are plans.
Explanations of plans underway is when the explanation becomes their reality.
Inshallah.
You switch on your switch and there's electricity.
Yes.
That's the only way the people are convinced. But along the line you spoke about a decrease. To avoid misconception, are you suggesting that at some point the cost of electricity would be reduced?
Let me put it this way. I have asked the EWRC, the regulator, to begin to do a modeling for us. I did that last week. That's their job. I said, do a modeling for us when the energy mix changes and we introduce more cheaper renewables. At what time? We don't know yet. We have to do modeling. At what time can Mr. President lower tariffs across the country for businesses and the people? That's one of the key outcomes we're looking at. Add more renewables to the mix. Hydro is very cheap, 3, 5, 6, 7 cents. Our solar now is between 3 to 9 cents for some of the projects that are coming online by Q1 next year. Yeah. By how much can we reduce? I don't know, because these cannot be political decisions. If you make it too cheap, you kill EDSA again, or whoever is going to be a partner of EDSA. It has to be based on real modeling and real economics. So I've given those instructions. Yeah? As we add more renewables to the mix, so in other words, the weighting of the cheaper source is higher than the more costly HFO and diesel-based generation, then we know by how much we can lower tariffs, but allowing enough margin for EDSA and its partner that will be coming in possibly in July to be able to make a return and also invest in maintenance, operations, and also new capital investments.
Earlier on, you spoke about expansion of supply and access to electricity. But the challenge there is the people already connected to the electricity struggle to get access. How then do you now expand to incorporate new customer base when the customers you already have are struggling to get access to electricity? EDSA is running mostly now on prepaid. Unlike before with NPA, when it was postpaid, there were challenges. You begin to wonder, a prepaid like we do with our SIM cards, it's what you buy that you'd have to consume. And the more you supply electricity, the more business you get. Isn't there a faulty business model with EDSA?
It's not faulty business model.
But it doesn't seem to be working.
It's bad
from
management. No, I was going to make it worse. Yeah, I don't want to use a euphemism. Faulty business model. Hell no. The business model is clear, but it's bad management. EDSA has management issues. It's been studied to death by MCC in the last 5 months. You know, with Andrew Kolleh, we brought in the Danish electrification agency to focus only on loss reduction, revenue enhancement. We brought in the Americans, Power Africa, to do catchment areas in Freetown. Yeah? The problem is worse. Yeah? We took a catchment area of Freetown. I will not name the location. We had the people go house to house with the experts from overseas, check which meters are there. Yeah? Are they tamper-proof? Are they working? What's the brand? We found different brands. If you extrapolate to the rest of the country, we have about 15 different types of meters. Yeah? Some of them substandard. Yeah? Some of them, the worst part, don't even send your prepaid money to EDSA. That's why I say it's broken, it's not managed properly. What are we doing to fix that? That work also started 3-4 years ago under Kandeh. We're now trying to complete it. We're launching. In November, we did a roadshow. With all of its problems, it is still an asset because it has a customer base, 8.5 million people that are ready to buy power if you have it, yeah? So we did a roadshow. We sent our teams out. They invited companies to take a look at EDSA. Yeah, after a lot of work had been done, their financials, everything. 11 companies showed interest. We narrowed down to 6. End of this month, we're launching the request for proposal. In other words, a bidding process. We will select one of those companies by June, July, to be a private sector partner to EDSA, to invest their money and run that commercial part, so that when you pay your prepaid, you get exactly what you should get. But we get that revenue in the coffers. So that management, we're going to have a private sector partner. In addition, now, this year, we have 40,000 tamper-proof meters. And we're developing a plan with the EDSA management, EDSA board. We're going to install those tamper-proof meters. They're smart meters. So we'll have a big dashboard in EDSA. When we put a meter in your home, it will show a red sign. So we know that meter is there and it is on, and it's registering in EDSA. If you tamper with it, the color will change. And that's a crime. So, but that 40,000, we're hoping, with the World Bank, it's all supplied by the World Bank, will begin to phase in and replace all these other different types. So we have a standardized version. We stopped a purchase of 20,000 that was already processed, and we stopped it because we didn't believe it had gone through the right channel. So we stopped that several weeks ago. We want to standardize now. In addition, we've hired a chief operating officer. It's a foreigner in EDSA to manage the commercial wing and also other parts of the operations. Right now we are interviewing for a chief technology officer. Why is that important? We need to reduce just like mobile phones, we need to reduce the human element in money collection and logging in numbers. So you collect You go to Phebean's house, you bypass the meter for her, and we don't know. Free light. There are many people. There are over 60,000 in one of the studies we've done in Freetown getting free light. They know they pay. We just went into the database with the American experts that came just to go through. Have they paid? When did they pay? Zero, over 60,000. We're going to change that by beginning to install these smart meters. In a city like Abidjan, they collect almost 90%. In Gambia, their losses are 21%. Our losses here are 60%. So EDSA is not functioning.
So we'll continue to delve into the functionality of EDSA in management, but let's look at the loss the people suffer. Some of the fire accidents in the country now have had, fingers pointed at EDSA to say it is as a result of the quality of electricity they supply that has led to some of these fire outbreaks. When we started off this morning with our banter, I was mentioning there was a time at AYV here, the MD's office, the bulb was just fuzzing. Next thing you know, it was on the carpet and there was a fire. So there are allegations against EDSA, people's fridges, televisions, chargers, extensions being blown off. Is there attention by your team now to look into these allegations and figure out what the truths or false allegations are in this story? The quality of electricity supplied by EDSA and the dangers it's posing to property and life.
Very true. Yeah, and it's two ways. We're working on that. We want to increase the size of the rapid response team. We want to provide an adequate logistics. We're looking at that with EDSA board and others. When and how we're going to finance that, we'll have a good discussion in a week or so that there's rapid response. Second, I come back to metering. If the metering process and organization is not revamped, you're going to have many more of those incidents. The case studies we've done just in Freetown, you can do the same offline. Yeah, you will see some of those meters are substandard. Yes, they're causing problems. They may not account for all the fires, let's not exaggerate, but there's a problem there. Yeah, so yes, we're looking at it. But in addition, I've learned now in the 5 months, I've only been there 5 months. Remember, it's a 40-year-old problem, 40-year-old problem. I can't fix it in 5 months.
But when you say meters, Doc, it doesn't give me pleasure interrupting you, but when you say meters, is it really wholly solely these meters? Because
it's also the wiring in the house.
The fluctuation in the power, sometimes the current, the voltage is too heavy.
Yeah.
Other times it's too low that only the bulbs can come on.
Very true.
Is this wholly attributed to the meters?
No, definitely not. That's why we started on the infrastructure side, the distribution networks, the substations, all of that we're looking at. And indeed, we're hopeful with MCC money and some of what we are beginning to do now. With MCC, almost 50% of that money is focused on that area. Grid stability, grid integrity. You have a dispatch center where you can manage supply and demand so you avoid these surges. You have fiber optics to be able to detect areas where there are faults along the line. So again, that's another reason why the MCC money is crucial to be able to build that infrastructure. It takes technology, and we're hoping with the private sector partner, if they in the end bite and agree to have a deal on EDSA, they're going to be looking at that, introducing more technology, investing their own technology and also management systems to deal with those issues you've raised.
You're pointing now at the MCC. With the current administration in America, with President Trump's, for lack of a better way to put it, reversal of certain things, cutting down on the expenditure of the American government, how realistic or feasible is that MCC money? How forthcoming is it to Sierra Leone with what's going on in America?
Based on all my information, real-time information, locally, and also Washington, I'm cautiously optimistic that after the freeze, MCC will begin to function again. Yeah, so I've talked to a lot of friends. I'm headed there very soon to meet some of the new administration officials and others. But I'm cautiously optimistic that after the freeze, MCC will move on. USAID is a different question. Yeah, but MCC, all sources, US, local, and so on, have assured us that we can remain cautiously optimistic.